The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
All the parents just perked up their ears.
Weren't they excited yesterday when we knew that this was going to happen?
That's right. Well, Bluey Fest is a thing, everybody, celebrating 5 years of the world's favourite little healer family. Kicks off today with the launch of Biggest Little Bluey Countdown on the ABC. How cute is that? The voice of Chilli, Melanie Zanetti, joins us now. Good morning, Melanie.
Good morning. How's it going, guys?
Melanie.
Yeah, we're wonderful, Mel.
Now, we've been talking about you for, since we knew we were going to be speaking about this, and we were thinking a lot of things that are made in Australia, you don't know, you would never even predict would have global legs.
Going into
for
it.
sure.
So when you went for the casting of Bluey, did you even ever conceive that it would ever take off as much as it did, or did you know there was something special when you read the script?
Well, I don't think anyone could have predicted just how well this show has gone in Australia and internationally, but I did know there was something special.
Yeah, right.
I sort of saw the basics of the pilot, so sort of like a 4 frames a second, and it had some voices in there, and from that moment I knew it was so special. I was like, my heart hurts, this is so beautiful. So I definitely wanted to be part of it.
But Mel, your story seems like a lot of others where you hear sometimes doing animations where they're not the first choice for the voice. So that's what happened with you. You just kind of got pulled in at the time, didn't you?
Yeah, I think they'd played around with some voices. Nothing was said at the time, but I had chucked a voice down at Dan Brum's studio, who plays Stripe and does the sound for Bluey. And at the 11th hour, ABC wanted to mix up the voices, and he's like, do you mind if we chuck your voice in? We all really like it. I'm like, take whatever you want. I'm already in love with this show. And then after it premiered at the Asia Pacific Cartoon Convention, they did their due diligence, and they auditioned for 3 months, and they came back, and they were like, actually, you're right. And they said that they couldn't find the same warmth in anyone else's.
Oh, that's a nice thing to hear, isn't it?
So about distinctive voices, right? So Karen from Will and Grace, right? So her voice, she wasn't allowed to do that voice outside of the show, and that's because she goes up many octaves. You slightly change your voice, don't you, Mel?
Yeah, ever so slightly. It's just sort of my dog mum voice.
I know what you mean. I've got a dog, and you do speak to them completely differently. So that's your
right.
inspiration.
Yeah. So are you allowed to legally do your dog mum voice outside? Like, can they hear you and
I'm
go,
not.
no?
I'm
Oh,
not.
wow.
The
Isn't
same
that interesting?
situation. They're like, no Chilli voice.
Isn't that crazy? Because it's your voice.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're not allowed to use it. That is so crazy that someone can own something that comes out of
So
you.
I know, that's amazing.
Is your dog a bit offended that you can't talk to it in dog mum voice anymore?
Well, I don't have a dog, but I'm sure they'd be very perturbed.
Hey, so Mel, being married to Bandit, of course, played by Dave, you guys, you don't record at the same time when you're doing your lines and stuff like that. Did it take a while for you guys to, meet and work together?
It took us 3.5 years before we actually met in person.
That's amazing.
Maybe even longer. I think it may be longer than that. So we met at Madison Square Garden in New York for the opening
For the
of
wrestling?
Bluey Play
No?
in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our second meeting was on Jimmy Fallon, and that is it. We have
Isn't that
never been in a room
insane?
together since.
And yet the thing that
talked on the phone.
people love the chemistry that the whole family's got.
Yeah.
And that is so surprising to hear.
So is that the same with all
Isn't that wild?
with other members of family, your 2 daughters?
Well, it's really just Dave that I've met.
So you haven't met anyone else?
I'm sure there's other people who have, there's been moments where they've had little roles and, people who are part of the team. But, it's really just my dog husband, who is a legend, by the way. He's such a nice guy. And, you wouldn't want anyone else to be your canine partner.
Well, why would
In
you?
life, yeah.
So
sure.
wait, you don't live in Australia. Where do you live?
I live sort of between Australia and LA, and the last few years it's kind of been totally gypsy life. I've been LA and then filming in Europe and then back to Australia, so sort of all over the place for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm in LA right now.
And also, you're the star of a movie franchise, aren't you?
I can't talk about, there's certain things I can't because SAG is on strike.
Wow. This is the first time we've even been touched by this strike.
Yes.
How exciting for our show. Wow. Ask you every question about anything she's ever done.
So there's no promoting any current projects and stuff, is it?
No
in the
promoting,
US?
no
Yes.
talking about it.
Well,
no, fair
okay,
enough.
let's
Fair
shut
enough.
that down. You'll get thrown in actor prison.
Hey, Mel, when you first got contracted to the ABC to do Bluey and you were all part of it, we were kind of thinking about before, because it was so new, I'd imagine it was kind of like, hey, we'll pay you... don't want to get into it too much.
But award rates early on.
Yeah, before later on it was, has been a massive success. What was it like that? You were just kind of doing it for, minimum wage?
Minimum wage.
Yeah, not quite minimum, but it was definitely... We're in Australia and it's ABC.
Yeah. So you just got to accept it, don't you?
So, but these days
Look, I think
you're earning more.
Voiceovers are less, even in America, voiceovers is not quite, unless you're in Simpsons land, they're pretty much your, your basic wage kind of everywhere. So it's not until, things get further and blow up, but that's very normal.
This is the thing, though. Think about it, though, The Simpsons, right? It's been on forever. But at the moment, if you were to call a Simpsons of the children's television world, it's Bluey.
Yeah, that's right.
It has got legendary status. 5 years in, it seems to be growing. The fact that there is something Australian that, granted, most of the Americans are Googling what sherbet is and stuff because they don't understand it. But the fact that has... Because usually when something Australian goes to America, they dumb it down and they don't think it's going to translate. That's amazing that the American audience have just love it so much, isn't it, Mel?
It's really wild, and it's really testament to Joe's writing. He's just exceptional. His ability to, tune into, young families of that age with all of its sort of, hilarity and beautiful moments and tricky stuff, but in a really truthful way. I think that's what sort of transcended and made it really universal.
What amazed me was the when just one episode gains traction, and the cricket episode really seemed to do that internationally as well. There were social media just blew up with Americans discovering what cricket was, and it's such a beauty. People are literally crying over this episode. When there's one like that, does everybody sit back and go, "Oh yeah, this one's really going to hit home"?
Yeah, absolutely. Cricket is a very special episode. I had a lot of people come out of the woodwork to message me and say how much they loved it and how much it hit them in the heart place. And yeah, there's something about, I don't know, sportsmanship and in a really beautiful way that really resonates with that episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to admit something to you just before we wrap this up. I don't have children, so I've never really watched Bluey too much, but I have seen Bluey here and there. Yesterday was the first time I discovered that Bluey is a girl.
Actually, Nathan, I'll agree.
I did not know, because Bluey is blue, and you think straight away we're conditioned to think that's a boy, and then when you hear the voice, I did not know.
So Bingo being a red heel, you go, oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sister, that'll be, no worries.
Yeah. So is that common, or is this the first time you've heard that?
Really common.
Okay, great.
Super common. And I kind of loved that Joe, the creator, he was just he didn't make a big deal about it. He didn't put extra eyelashes or bows to the girl. It's just it's just two kids.
Just two dogs.
And they love playing games.
Yep.
And it's everyone can get behind this protagonist regardless if it's a girl or a boy dog. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Amazing.
We feel safe with your voice.
That's
Mum.
Thanks, Chilli.
It's been a delight to talk to you, Melanie. It is the #1 viewed show in ABC iView history for such a really good reason. It's so good. Bluey Fest is happening, everybody. Check it out on the ABC. The biggest little Bluey countdown kicks off today.
And sorry, my other thing about Chilli is I love that her job is she works at airport security. That to me is just so funny. It's out of all the jobs. Finally, someone shone a light on airport security. It's great.
Good on you.
Mel.
Thanks,
Thank
Mel.
you so much for talking to us,
Bye.
Melanie.
Awesome. Thanks, Dad.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au. Nova.